Hey everybody, this is Marcos Avon, Miami Shooters Club, and I want to go over how to deal with malfunctions when you're in the middle of a defensive shooting. So if you're shooting in a defensive situation and you hear this sound, that's a terrible sound to hear. It means the round didn't go off and you have some type of malfunction. So we're going to talk about how to clear this malfunction. Now there's many reasons why this malfunction may have happened. One reason could be that the magazine's not seated all the way in, okay? Although it's not falling out, in this case you could tell it's not seated. You would hear a click normally. Okay? And that's how you know it's seated in. Now it won't come out. So what happens is if it's not seated all the way in, you rack the slide back, it's not loaded. Look, nothing's coming out. So you want to do is you want to tap the magazine in hard. So now the gun's loaded. You'll see when I rack it back again, you'll see the round eject. Okay? So that's one reason. Another reason, now it's loaded. I pull the trigger. Nothing happens. What happened? It could be, in this case, it's a bad round. These are dummy rounds. But it could be either a bad cartridge or your gun's malfunctioning, like the firing pin's not hitting the primer hard enough, or other issues. So most likely it's going to be the cartridge. So to solve that problem, we're going to rack the slide back, which is going to eject the bad round and load a fresh one in. So now when we're in a shooting and I hear that sound, I don't want to stop and inspect. Is it the magazine? You know, we're just going to have one universal way of doing this, one reaction. We hear that click, tap, rack. Okay? So anytime I go click, tap, rack, and we're back in the fight, okay? And that's going to address the majority of your malfunction issues. Now, there's one type of malfunction that tapping and racking won't work for. Well, there's a couple, but there's one of the more common ones that it won't work for is what's called a double feed. And a double feed looks just like this. Okay? It's when you have a round still in the chamber there. I don't know if it's coming out in the camera, but you have a round still in the chamber there, okay, and the slide started feeding another round from the magazine. It creates like a traffic jam in there. So what happens here is that now I rack the slide and nothing's happening, okay? So if I'm shooting and I happen to notice I have a double feed, I can react to it right away. But you know, a lot of times you're not looking at your gun like that. You're focused on the threat. You hear it click, you tap and rack, and now you'll notice, oh, tap and rack didn't work. I have a double feed here. Now, to deal with a double feed, there's a classical way of doing it, and there's a way that most people do it nowadays with their polymer guns. Polymer guns meaning having these plastic grips, like your modern semi-autos are like this, your Glocks, your MMPs, most of your modern semi-automatic pistols. And the way we're going to deal with this is we're going to push on the mag release. As I push on the mag release, it's not going to come out because there's a certain the cartridge. I'll show you when I pull the magazine out, but I'm going to pull here and rip the magazine out. Now, sometimes the slide will collapse and close right away, and you can just work the slide, get the rounds out, put a fresh magazine in, rack the slide, and you're back in. Now, the reason why there's some difficulties sometimes is because the magazine has partially stripped the cartridge, and you have that bullet there sticking out, okay? So when you're trying to pull it down, it's kind of bumping in there. So you have to rip the magazine out. Now, on some of the older firearms, like a 1911, for example, with a 45 caliber bullet, which is going to stick out more profusely here, you may have difficulty ripping the magazine out altogether. And the classic way of dealing with this double feed is to lock the slide to the rear. And once the slide's locked to the rear, now you rip out the magazine, and then you rack it a few times to clear it, put the magazine back in, and load your gun. You're good to go. But try it with your guns with dummy rounds. For your polymer guns, your modern semi-auto guns, you don't have to lock the slide to the rear. That's just an extra step that's going to slow you down. Just rip the magazine out, clear that jam you still have in there, and pop the mag back in and go. And that's how I deal with the majority of the malfunctions you're going to see. There's one more malfunction that you might see. It's very, very rare. It's happened to me only once. And I seen it happen at a range I'm working one other time, and it's so rare I don't even know the name of it. But it's when the slide's frozen. I call it the frozen malfunction. Like you can't rack the slide back at all. It's like stuck. And I know people on forums and stuff that like take their gun to the gunsmith to rectify the problem because they're just trying to rack it and they can't. So if you ever encounter that very rare malfunction, what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab on hard to the slide. And then you're going to use your hand here and hit on this tang of the gun like a machine gun multiple times. And you go pop, 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 pop till it pops loose. and the cartridge gets ejected. And with those three there, that's going to be the vast majority of the malfunctions that you're going to see ever in your lifetime. If you want to learn more about handling malfunctions, taking apart your gun, cleaning your gun, shooting tactics, about becoming an NRA instructor, anything regarding gun training, please DM me your name, phone number, and email, and I'll add you to our email list. And if you give me your phone number, we'll give you a call for more information if you want more information. If you just want to be on our email list, just go ahead and DM me with your name and email, and we'll add you to the list. By being part of our email list, I send lots of tips like this out. And I also send out special events coming up, special trainings we're doing, and I offer sometimes some discounts and stuff to people only on my list. So go ahead and join my email list. Thank you very much.